Welcome back everyone. Today's makeup tutorial is this super warm eyeshadow with a chunky rose gold disco glitter. I purposely filmed some out of focus shots just to show you how reflective the glitter is. It looks amazing in the flesh, just doesn't translate as well on camera because my lighting is directly in front of me. So I'm using this iconic London palette called Data Slay, and the first colour I'm going in with is a matte finish, and this is Peaches and Dream. I'm using this just to make sure we've got no excess product like moisturiser on the eyelid. This will soak up any moisture and give us a nice smooth base. Next I'm going in with this peachy gold shimmer. This eyeshadow is called Rags to Riches, and I'm using my ring finger to apply this to the mobile eyelid. Going into another matte eyeshadow, this one is called Ultimate Tan, and I'm using my ZOEVA 228 crease brush to apply this into the socket. So this brush tapers into a point, the tip of the bristles sit into the socket line, and you just work the brush backwards and forwards in window wiper motions, and the rest of the bristles are going to blend the colour for you. That's what's great with working with a tapered brush. Then once you've got the majority of the colour in that socket line, you can just work the brush over the edges to blend them out. Once I've finished applying that colour, I then go in with my Sigma E25 blending brush, and I work this in circular motions over the seams. Going in with another matte eyeshadow, this one is called Bellini, and it's a beautiful, quite vibrant peachy tone, and I'm using an angled liner brush by Crown to work that through the socket. When we get to the outer corner, I'm going to use the width of the brush to start thickening the application on the outer socket line. Pulling the eyeshadow out on the outer edge helps to elongate the eyes. To give you a better understanding of the shape we're creating, you want to imagine that your lower lash line continued up towards your hairline, and this is the little space that we're going to be working within. That is your rough guide for the area that we're going to be creating this wing. Always make sure your wing is lifted slightly. You don't want to give the appearance that your eyes are being dragged downwards. Going back to my 228 crease brush, I'm using this just to blend in the seams so it doesn't look harsh. Even though we're going to be going over this again, you always want to make sure that at each stage your seams are blended. That way you'll end up with that beautiful graduation from the lid out towards the brow bone. Once I've blended it with the 228, I then go in with my E25 to give it an extra blend because this is the cleanest brush. It's also more of a flat top brush, so we're covering more surface area than we are with the 228 because obviously that one is tapered. Next I'm going in with the Sigma E30 brush, and I'm reapplying the colour Bellini. We're concentrating the application of this colour on the outer third of that socket line. We want to intensify this area, defining the wing a little bit further. And as I said before, at each stage we're going in with our E25 brush to consistently blend. To make this a super warm look, we're going to take the Aries palette from Natasha Denona and take this terracotta shade, and we're going to use the angled liner brush to trace over the area that we applied Bellini. So I'm redefining that winged shape and using the angled liner brush because we have more precision where we apply it, and then using the pencil brush to help blend that out. Using the pencil brush gives us more precision on the blending as well. If you go straight in with a fluffy crease brush, you're going to just start to lose that shape that we're creating. We want that nice wing, so we need it to be defined, but we also want it to be blended, but in the area that we've applied it. So using smaller brushes allows us to be more precise. Also, if you used to go straight in with this terracotta shade without having Bellini blended underneath, it would be harder to blend out because it's a really pigmented matte eyeshadow. Having that powder underneath creates a silky base and allows it to blend out so much easier. Now I've done the majority of that blending, I'm going back in with my E25 brush over the seams to make sure that graduation is as soft as possible. I always stress about the importance of layering products for intensity but also for longevity. I'm going back in with my angled brush to re-intensify the outer third to create a bit more of a soft cut crease. So using what's left on the bristles to pull that through the inner half of the socket. Going back to the palette, I'm taking Deep Soul, which is a matte brown, and using the same angled liner brush, I'm using this to define the outer third of that socket. And then I'm blending that in using my pencil brush. I haven't got any more product on the pencil brush, I'm just using what's left in the bristles. So you start to get a gradient that goes from a deep burnt orange tone, which gradually gets lighter as it goes towards the eyebrow bone. However much you build it up is completely optional. I have very strong lights in front of me, so a lot of my colour drains away, so I can afford to apply a bit more than if I was in natural light. I'm now going in with a completely clean blending brush, and I'm working this over the middle to top half of the eyeshadow to make sure it's completely seamless. Before I apply the glitter, I'm going back in with Rags to Riches and reapplying this to the mobile eyelid. You could go in with a fine glitter before your chunky glitter, but it's completely up to you. On a flat brush, I'm applying some of the Lit Cosmetics clear glitter glue all over where we've applied the Rags to Riches colour. So this is going to be anywhere you're applying your glitter. The rose gold chunky glitter I'm using is by Kiss My Fairy, which I will link in the description bar for you. Using the same brush that's got the glitter glue on it, I'm dipping that straight into the pot and then pressing that over my eyelid. Now this is a cosmetic glitter glue, but obviously it is chunky, so you need to be careful when applying it to your eyes that you don't get it in your eye. If you tilt your head forward and look down into a mirror, you shouldn't get anything in your actual eye. Once you've pressed it all in place, you can go in with some tweezers to manipulate any of the little hexagon shapes to make sure they don't stick up in your eye socket so it doesn't affect you opening your eyes. Now I'm going to go back in and tweak the eyeshadow a little bit, but first I'm going to apply some eyeliner. I'm using the ZOEVA calligraphic eyeliner. This is a matte black liquid with a foam tip, so it moulds to the shape of your eye, which is great when you're colouring over the glitter. I want a nice sharp wing on the outer corner with a really tiny tip, so I'm using a paintbrush to apply it there. Then I'm using the Aicha Sport waterproof eyeliner. I think I use this pretty much every single day to tightline my eye. Because it's waterproof, it doesn't transfer, so it's great. I'm using the Graphic Eyes by ZOEVA for the waterline because it's super inky black and really soft. Now I've got the eyeliner on, I want to just re-intensify the outer third with a little bit more of the Deep Soul eyeshadow, and then I'm going over that with the pencil brush again to soften the edges, and the key is to use a really light hand when doing this. Using a small amount of makeup remover, I'm now going to clean up underneath the eyes, and then off camera I'm going to apply these eyelashes by Backstage Lashes, and these are Beverly Hills. Under the eyes I'm going straight in with Natasha Denona's Terracotta shade from the Aries palette. I don't need to worry about applying an eyeshadow underneath this because we're going for that intense look, and then over that we're going to apply Deep Soul really close to the eyelashes. So we'll get graduation from black along the waterline into the brown into the terracotta shade. On the inner corner of the eyes I'm applying some Becca's Champagne Pop. I'm also going to add some of that underneath the eyebrow bone. Moving on to skin, I'm using MAC's Studio Sculpt foundation. This is a gel-based foundation. It's a medium to full buildable coverage foundation. Due to its gel texture, it's definitely suitable for dry skins to more mature skin. It leaves you with a kind of satin finish, which I think is very flattering. It claims to provide long-term hydration and that it's water resistant. I personally haven't used it for more than a couple of hours, but I really like it. I filled my brows in off camera using my Diego Della Palma eyebrow pencil. And now I'm using Benefit's Ready Set Brow Clear Brow Gel to set my hairs in place. To create some dimension to the face, I'm using Natasha Denona's Sculpt and Glow palette. I'm using the light to medium palette, and I'm starting off by applying the cream contour into the hollows of the cheeks using my ZOEVA 117 Petite Defined Buffer Brush, and then pressing over that with my beauty blender, and that's going to give a much more natural finish. Using what's left on the bristles of the brush, I'm going to apply that down the sides of the nose. Going back to the palette, I'm now using the powder contour over the cream contour to set it in place and just give it a bit more intensity. As you can see, it's a really nice colour for a contour. It's not too warm, so you don't have that fear of looking too orange. I'm also applying some of that contour around the hairline. Our forehead naturally has a shadow around the hairline where your skull naturally tapers backwards. And foundation can make your face look quite flat, so we put that shadow back in. I'm using this peachy blush brick from Diego Della Palma. I will list the colour in the description bar for you, and I'm applying that to the back half of the cheek. This is the new Complexionista palette by Benefit. It contains 2 highlighters, 2 bronzers and 2 of their concealers. I'm patting some of their Boying concealer underneath my eyes, and this is going to subtly brighten that area. Out of the 2 highlighters, one of them is a cream and one of them is a powder. I'm using the What's Up highlighter, and I'm using my finger to press that over the high points of the cheeks. Cream highlighters are so much more flattering as you get older. For the lips, I'm using ZOEVA's Pure Lacquer Lips in the shade Strong Career. This is a creamy finish with a nice high shine to it. You could wear it as it is, but I prefer this lip colour when it's been patted off with some tissue because it just looks so much more subtle and just gives your lips a really nice muted dusky rose colour. I'll insert a little boomerang here just to show you how reflective this is in the flesh. If you give it a go, please tag me in your pictures. Thank you to everyone who entered last week's giveaway. These are the winners. Please direct message me on Instagram or my Facebook. The links to those will be in the description bar below, and they are also on screen for you now. Tap my face to subscribe if you haven't already done so. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you've got any comments, please leave them in the comment section below and I will do my best to get back to you. Remember, all the products used will be listed and linked below.